Hi everyone, it's Natalie and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the end of the year book tag. I originally saw this video in Spanish, so I translated the questions to the best of my ability, and I will leave linked down below the original tag creator so you can check that out if you know Spanish. The first question is January. What was the first book you read in this year? The first book I read this year was actually The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. Technically, I started this book last year, the very last day of the year, but I did finish it this year, so I'm counting it as my first read of the year. The second question is February, the shortest book you've read this year. For that, I'm going with Superior by Jessica Lack. This is a very short and very cute novella. It's all about the sidekicks of a superhero and a supervillain getting together. It was adorable. I really enjoyed it. I read it basically in one sitting. Check it out if you want a good short time. The third question is March, your favorite author of 2020. For this question, I'm giving two honorary answers. Basically, these are two authors that I read for the first time this year, and I'm really looking forward to reading more books by them. The first one is Tiffany D. Jackson. I read Let Me Hear a Rhyme. It was fantastic. It was incredible. I really want to read more books by her. The second one is Brandy Colbert. I read The Revolution of Birdie Randolph this year. It was again fantastic, spectacular, amazing. I really want to read more books by both of these authors because they show a lot of promise, and I've already heard positive things about other books that they've published. The fourth question is April. The best children's novel or middle grade novel that you've read this year. For that, I'm going with Pet by Akwaeke Emezi. I don't really read a lot of children's or middle grade novels, so I had very few options to pick from. And this is actually one that I consider a little bit more YA than middle grade, but I'm still going to count it because I think it's an excellent novel, and I think it's a great in-between novel for those age groups of like your middle grader that's trying to transition into YA. This is definitely the book to recommend to them. The fifth question is May, the book with the most beautiful cover of the year. Now this one was hard because I love covers a lot. I tend to buy books, read books based on their covers very frequently. So this was a tough one to narrow down, but I basically decided to go for very different aesthetics and views. I am going to show you two covers because I do really love both of them. The first one is Lore and Lust by Carla Nicole. Just look at it. Look at it. His face is so beautiful. Haru is my everything. Y'all be hearing more about this book later, but the point is this cover is stunning, beautiful, incredible. It's just great. It's just great. It's beautiful, and that's all you need to know. It's also a vampire novel. If you're looking for a queer vampire novel, go check it out. The other one is Dark and Deepest Red by Anna Marie McLemore. Now, this one is a different kind of illustration. Actually, both covers are illustrated, but in very different ways and using very different approaches. So that's kind of why I picked them. But this one, I just like that it's this solid color. You have the silhouettes going on, the figures. I've seen it in person, and it has details that make it even more stunning. Truly, I desperately want to own both of these books so that I can stare at them forever. The sixth question is June, best audiobook of the year. For that, I'm going with The Summer of Jordi Perez by Amy Spalding. I think that's her name, the author's name. Anyway, I mainly picked this up because I really enjoyed the audiobook. I found it to be a super quick and fun read, and I actually really struggled to pick an audiobook because I love so many of them, and I think so many of them bring different things to the table. But this one, I think I just found the narrator very charming. I think she added charm to our main character, so that's kind of why I went with it. But it's a very cute summary read, so I also thought that it fit well with June because that was around the time I read it, I believe. If it wasn't, I just think it's a great summary read, so check it out next year if you want to. The seventh question is July, the longest book you've read this year. That for me is The Queens of Ennislear by Tessa Gratton. This one is a chunker. It's 678 pages long, I believe, and it feels like it. It does feel like it. I'm not going to lie to you, but I love Tessa Gratton. I adore this book. That's why it's so heavily and beautifully annotated because I'm a stan. So I was actually rereading this year to annotate it. So nothing has topped it because I'm perpetually scared of long books. So literally the one that comes closest is the sequel of this, which is right here. I believe you can see it, Lady Hotspur. And this is still like 570 something pages. So almost 100 pages less than this. The 8th question is August, the book you've read in the least amount of time, or the book you've read the fastest this year. I'm going with 2 answers here because I'm being kind of nebulous about it, because technically the book I've read most quickly is actually all the novellas that I've read this year, but I don't really count those because they're so short. So I'm going to go with ones that I sped through even though they were longer than novella length. The first one is Heartwood. This is a comic anthology. I wanted to feature it because this is a book from a small publisher, so I really want to highlight it as much as I can. I really enjoyed this. I think the art style is beautiful. I love that this one focuses on forests and magical moments in forests. That's really my jam, so perfection. Check it out. I will have it actually linked down below so that you know where to buy it. The other book I want to mention is Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. I essentially devoured this book. I was captivated by it. I absolutely loved it. I have a review for almost all of these books in my channel, so I will link a few of them up above in the cards, but I will for sure link the one for Get a Life, Chloe Brown, because it's the best romance I've read this year, I think. It was just so good. The 9th question is September, a book by an author that shares your nationality. I think that's the best way I can translate it, I think. For this one, I'm going with Never Look Back by Lilian Rivera. This one is by a Puerto Rican author. I'm Puerto Rican. I believe she was born in the island but grew up in the Bronx, but it's possible that she grew up in the Bronx as a Puerto Rican. Not entirely sure about the specifics, but I know for sure that I wanted to go with this one because, again, it's a book I really enjoyed. Would highly recommend. Yeah. The 10th question is October, a horror book you've read this year. I don't read a lot of horror, so I have an automatic answer for this, which I have an individual review up, which I will leave in the cards above, and that is Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. If y'all watched that video, if you have watched that video, you all will know that I'm a stan of this book. Absolutely loved it. Thought it was brilliant, thought it was amazing, incredible. It perfectly blends the real with the paranormal. Y'all just need to read it. It's an incredible horror novel, or at least I think it is. The 11th question is November, a book you still want to read this year. For that, again, I'm mentioning 2 books. The first one is Miss Meteor by Anna Marie McLemore and Taylor K. Mejia. I need to read this. I need it. I need to read this before the year ends. If I don't read this before the year ends, it's a problem. It's a problem. The other one I'm going to mention too, if I don't read it by the end of the year, there's a serious problem going on because I desperately want to read both of these books. But yeah, Miss Meteor, highly looking forward to reading this one. I hope it's cute and that it's fun and that it has sprinkles of sad moments, but that essentially just steals my heart away. The other one is Nightshine by Tessa Gratton. I have purposefully not read this yet. Tessa Gratton has a very rich writing style, which means that I like to take my time with her books. I don't want to rush through them, so hopefully I get through this by the end of the year because I really want to read it. I am heartbroken that I have not been able to read it yet, but I do want to give it the attention I know it deserves. The 12th and final question is December, a book with a great ending. For that, I'm going with 2 answers again because I just like mentioning more rather than less. The first one I'm going to mention is A Man Called Ove by Frederick Bachman. This ending tore me apart and put me back together again. So sad, yet so beautiful, so heartwarming. Truly, I need to read more stuff by Frederick Bachman. The other book I'm going to mention is The Scorpio Races by Maggie Stiefvater. This is a book that I did not love the entirety of the book, but I thought the ending was really great. I don't know, the ending just stole my heart as well. I thought that it really elevated the rest of the story. I was kind of conflicted with the majority of the book, but the ending really made it something special. Anyways, that's it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you want to try out doing this tag, please feel free to do so. You can say that I tagged you. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you would like to follow me on any of my social media, I will have the links to that down below in the description. But for now, see you next time.